Shaving. The final frontier. We are the Voyagers of the Wet Shavers Roundtable. We welcome you to a Shave New World. Greetings, folks, and welcome to our Halloween episode of the Wet Shavers Roundtable. Unfortunately, Rico is not joining us today, and all I can hear is the Star Trek theme in my headphones right now. But Rico's unable to join us as the moderator today, so I'll be taking over. And welcome to the Halloween episode. You can see David Gonzalez is dressed as, well, David Gonzalez. But Busta, who are you?
Lucy, I'm home. Enrique Ricardo. Yeah, Babalu.
Oh, Busta.
Some people call me Cuban Pete, huh?
So welcome back to this, I believe, is episode 21 of the Wet Shavers Roundtable. Again, you have Douglas Smythe, Busta, the Shave Busta, and David the Truth Gonzalez with us today. And so, guys, this is it. Just the three of us. I think it's perfectly fine. Khan's not here, missing in action. Typical.
Everybody else
days.
is celebrating.
Everyone else is celebrating. Yeah, I know. Like, I wonder how many actual watchers out there we have today, or viewers rather, which isn't bad. I mean, it's live, so and we're recording this, so they can always check back in later. But I have a lot to cover today. I'm in Roswell, freaking New Mexico right now, people, and this is where it all happened. This is my inspiration for my latest David Bowie phase I'm going through right now. And so I had
ground
to come
control
here.
to Major Tom.
Exactly, to Captain Smythe. But this is and I'm leaving here. I'm leaving Roswell tomorrow. I've been here for the last 3 days with more questions than answers, which is typical. But it's just funny. Like, I'm learning so much. I'm learning that the crash actually didn't happen in Roswell at all. It happened in Corona. So I was telling the guys earlier before we launched the show that it's very similar to Woodstock. Woodstock didn't actually happen in Woodstock. Yeah, it is.
What a freaking rip-off.
I mean, that's dude. That's how life is. It's like that. We blow up and romanticize these things that didn't really happen in the places we learned that they happened in. It's all a lie.
Yeah.
So, wet shaving. We are back. We are talking wet shaving. Typically, I've been using typical a lot, but I'm just not used to being the host of this show yet. But we typically have a guest, and we would interview him right now, but we don't really have a guest because we've all done this a million times now. So
I've been on the show before.
Yeah, you've really been spearheading the guest list, and I respect
so
that.
You're more of a fill-in as opposed to a guest.
Oh yeah, it was like
you're one of the side staples of this show.
Like 5 hours ago, I was like, I've got nobody else. You want to get on the show?
It was guaranteed. I was like, well, we were talking. David and I were like, well, it's the Halloween special, and who can we find? And it's like, all of us are already on the show. I don't know. Oh wait, Busta.
Yeah, I got it. I had a costume too, right?
You were probably wearing it, actually.
I was, yeah.
So it worked out, and I'm glad to have you on board. So let's talk some shaving. How's it been in the shaving world this week for you folks? Busta, let's start with you.
It's been pretty good. I've got all kinds of new stuff I've been trying out, and I got a cool new brush. I didn't bring it with me, unfortunately, but Tim Blem, who makes custom brush handles. He's at that Blem Brush Works, I think.
Yep, that's it.
He makes a brush where the handle looks like a guitar. Yes. And that is freaking cool. And what's funny is I did a video and I posted the video and I showed the brush, and a lot of people were like, that's way cool, that's way cool. And I had one guy who commented and say, that looks nothing like a real guitar handle. And I'm like, dude,
actually, it
calm
does.
down.
Yeah, but
there's always those jackasses that want to watch the videos and just be a fucking total killjoy, dude. Tell that fool to fucking unsubscribe. What a jack.
But the thing is, it does. I mean, he makes guitars. That was his first gig, and the brush handle thing came after, and it's kind of a byproduct of it. And so it does look like a guitar handle. I mean,
no, and it's really cool actually.
The frets.
Wouldn't it be more correct to call it like the neck of a guitar? Because some people hear guitar.
Sorry, not the handle. I'm not a guitarist, so I don't know.
Yeah, sadly I am, but I just called it the guitar handle because.
But it's got a fret.
Roswell.
It's got a fretboard on it, and it's even got Busta inlaid in the fretboard.
Yes,
it was really cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have strings,
Not yet. We're working on that. Now, he hooked me up with one probably about a year ago now, but with a stash, because people give me stuff with stashes on it all the time. Speaking of which, I received, maybe one of the viewers out there can help me out with this. I received this mug in the mail.
I know who it's from. I know who it's from. I know who it's from.
Shit.
Someone sent me a mug with a mustache. It says like "Respect the Stash," and it came into the office that day. It's on my desk, and I'm like, "Fran, respect the stash." Thinking she's gonna laugh, and be like, "Yeah, I got that for you." She thought I ordered it. I'm like, "No, I didn't order. I would never order something like this." But okay, so someone did order. I was wondering what was going on. David, what do you know?
Okay, so the way that goes is, remember how last week we're in our shave dens, and both myself and Rico were using products that David Bradner sent us. Well, David Bradner heard your cries of that you didn't ever get anything. So he didn't want to leave you out, so he actually sent you that mug.
So because
That was
Douglas
so
was
baffling.
whining, this guy said him something.
See that, Busta? See?
That's what happened to me,
does
man.
make-
I didn't have a soap, and I just kept whining until somebody made me a soap.
Oh man, that's one. Okay, so that mystery's solved. See, I come to Roswell, mysteries get solved. So this town, I just want to tell you guys, it is wacky here. Like it really is. And there's like two like parties of folk that live here. There's people that just don't want to acknowledge the legacy or the heritage of Roswell, where I think they should. And then there's the people that do, and they get all freaky. For example, the downtown lights, and I don't know if this was intentional. I don't think it was. Maybe it was. But the downtown lights are those old school like lamps that are with the rounded tops. They glow green. They glow green, so that just seems cool, and like you'd expect that in Roswell. But
Yeah.
some artists along I don't know how long it was, maybe a few years back, put these eyes on the lamps. So these lanterns now look like alien heads coming out of the. Okay, folks, we are back. We're so sorry for that. Since Rico is not moderating the show today, he's still kind of like allowing us in. It's a long story. Fact is, we think his computer either died or he closed his computer, and it kind of killed the show. But we're back, and we don't know how much you followed of what transpired in the last few minutes of the beginning of our last episode, being this episode. But we're back, and we're live.
Anything
Sorry
goes,
about
man.
that. Anything really goes today. So, yes, Roswell kicks ass. That's all I got. What do you guys got?
Hey, for those who don't know, I dressed up as Ricky Ricardo, so Lucy,
Yeah.
I'm home. You got some explaining to do. I had to shave just like Ricky. I used an old-fashioned Cuban razor. No, I'm just joking. I don't know.
That would actually be something to see.
No.
I want, yeah, they
on
probably
the show,
did. Yeah.
on the show, he actually shaved with an electric razor.
What? I ain't doing that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably the first product placement.
Possibly.
That was the first. That was like the first TV show, one of the first TV shows. In fact, this ties in with Roswell. In 1954, was it? Trying to think where it was. But that first broadcast of I Love Lucy will probably be the first thing, if there's intelligent life out there, to hit them. That broadcast was the first thing being set out up there, TV signal anyways. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first TV show. Guys out there in TV land, in Twitterverse, please let me know if I'm right or wrong, or just BSing my way through this. But
We think you're BSing your way through this.
I tend to do that sometimes just without even trying. Let's see. So I'm looking at Twitter right now. Twitter is dead. This is the thing. It is Halloween, so
We're just doing this for our amusement.
Yeah, we really are, and we were so concerned when we weren't live anymore. Like, oh my God, like people missed that BS we were just going over. But
so I have to give a shout out to Lynn Abrams, who sent me this Cuban cigar. I never smoked a cigar in my life, but for the costume, he sent it out to me. So
still haven't.
Thank you, Lynn. I will smoke it eventually, but just not yet.
As of now, he's just chewing on it.
Exactly. Tastes kind of good.
And I'm not sure who sent me the mug again, David.
It was David Bradner. David Bradner sent you that mug.
David Bradner, thank you for the mug. It's not this mug, but since I'm without the mustache mug you sent me, I will toast you with my Space Camp mug, which has traveled with me from Alabama. to Roswell.
And David, he's cool people, man. Like he actually messaged me. I guess you were out of town or something. So he was genuinely concerned that you weren't gonna actually get the mug. So he used it, and I'm like, don't worry, I'm sure he'll get it. You don't have that many employees, so I don't think you get that lost.
Well,
so,
I got it.
He genuinely won't get it.
I just don't. We didn't know where the hell it came from. Like Fran wasn't copping up. I wasn't. I posted it on Facebook. No one told me what was going on. And look at these socks.
Yeah, well, you have a stalker, I'm sure. That's pretty sad.
I have. I'm embracing it. I'm in Roswell. I want to believe.
You got the alien socks, Starfleet gear, and a captain's hat.
And I got some X-Files going on too. There's a lot going on here. I was thinking L. Ron Hubbard. Scientology. He wore the hat like this. So yes, back to wet shaving. Time is ticking. We've lost probably I don't know how much time, but let's skip on over to gear of the week. David Gonzalez, what has been your special gear of the week?
Well, not a whole lot. I haven't got a whole lot this week, but one thing that I just recently tried for the first time ever was holy cow.
Holy cow!
And I wasn't surprised that it had good performance, but I was surprised that the performance was as good as it was. It's still a bit underrated. You don't see a whole lot of people using it on the groups as of yet. You see it, but it's not one of those things that you'll see one day. You'll catch like 10 people using it all at once.
So why do they call it holy cow?
Hell if I know. I would
my
say
guess. I have a guess
I
that
was happy it didn't have the vagina on the label no more.
female reproduction system is what you're referring to. But Sri Ram, I'm guessing, I don't know Sri very well. We've spoken on Facebook. He's a really cool guy. Seems like a really cool guy. But I'm guessing he's Indian heritage or he studies Hinduism, so a holy cow.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay. And it's just a play on words as well. So that's my guess.
But it is vegan.
Yes, it is a vegan soap.
There you go. Boom. That's just me.
Yeah, so that's what I was been using this week, and after I used it that first time, I used it actually a second time, and it's actually pretty rare for me to use soap more than once. Oh, so Rico showed that he left the call, so hopefully we don't get cut off again.
Sorry, folks, if that happens.
But, I was just really pleasantly surprised by this, and I look forward to buying more of their scents, because this is the Fougere Bouquet, and again, I'm not a big fan of, like, the real earthy Fougeres. Like, I cannot stand Martin de Condry. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to get hate mail for it, and I'm going to get crucified for it, but I do not like Martin de Condry Fougere. It's just not my thing. I like these sweeter, brighter, greener Fougeres as opposed to something real earthy and just dirty smelling. So, good stuff.
Yes. Well, I believe that's based on Fougere Royale, the original Fougere. I could be wrong, but I feel like I did read that on Sri's site. And it's either based on the original or the recent one, and it could very well be the recent one. Otherwise, it'll smell like Déjà Fougere, which is my take on that, or at least similar to that.
That's probably why I like it, because I do love the Beach Bear Fougere is the one that I have.
Yeah, that's it. Is it similar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is different, though. It does smell. You'd be able to smell the difference in the two, but it is similar.
Yeah, I think it's based on the modern take on the Fougere Royale. But, I could be wrong. Don't take my word for that, folks.
David, have you smelled La Terre Verte by Katie's Bubbles?
Yeah, LTV, I have it.
And so do you like that one? Is that similar? Because I don't know what you're talking about. Is LTV similar as far as or is that different?
No, LTV smells a lot different. LTV is
It's greener.
I think it's a greener and it has more powderiness to it.
Okay. Because I like that, and I also like Taub's for sensitive skin, which is very similar in my opinion.
I have that somewhere around. When you come on next week, you'll smell it. I'm gonna pick you up anyway.
God, it's already coming up. It's
like when you go to my house, you'll smell it.
Yeah, when you come over and sleep over, and my mom will feed you.
You'll smell it.
You will smell it.
Hey, I was actually considering giving my mom money to buy stuff to make birria. So.
See what I mean? Well, she makes the best. Isn't that what we said?
Of course.
Busta, what do you have to highlight? Oh, I'm sorry, David. Are you done, or is?
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Brushes, anything like that?
No, not a whole lot of new stuff here going on.
Good. Our listeners, thank you. Usually they're moaning about how how much money they spend after watching one of our shows, and
it happens.
It does happen because I do the same thing. You guys are showing me stuff. I'm like, man, here we go.
No, I even get more mad because Douglas will post something about a new soap or a new aftershave, and I'm like, oh, I got to get that, so I'll order it. And 2 days later, he posts another one, and I'm like, why didn't you post that with the original?
Well, what you're talking about is not only my own products, but other people's products I'm
I
carrying.
know.
Right? Yeah. So a lot of times I don't know when they come in. Like when you're dealing with artisans, we don't understand time the same way you understand time. So it takes time to fulfill these orders. So a lot of times it's a crapshoot. You don't know when it's coming in, and they'll be like, people could be like, it's in the mail, and you get it like a week later, or you get it 3 days later. So you really can't plan something around, especially when the United States Postal Service has anything to do with it. So it's a surprise to me as much as it is a surprise to my customers and you.
I think it's a conspiracy. If you're watching, you know what I'm talking about.
Conspiracy? Who believes in those?
I'm just...
Anyways, what you got, Busta? I'm going to go pour myself some coffee, but I'll be right back. Okay. Talk to us.
So this week I got all kinds of cool stuff. First of all, I got a really cool custom brush from Tim Blam. So Tim's a brush maker. I think we've all met him, right? You met him, right, David?
Oh, yeah, I met him at Chicago, and I talked to him a number of times on the groups. He's good people.
Yeah, I met him in Chicago, and he makes some of the most unique custom brushes. So he came out with that skull brush, first of all, and that was pretty cool. But he sent me one that is it's like a guitar handle or a guitar fretboard, and it's got Busta inlaid in the handle. So it is
that's a very impressive brush, man. I love that inlay. That's obviously very well done.
Yeah, I mean, he made Busta look great. In fact, he told me he messed up in it like 4 times. So he spent a lot of time getting Busta to look good in that thing. The cool thing is it's handmade. But, I want to say it's one of a kind, but I mean, obviously he makes more of these guitar fretboard things. But I guess with the inlays, it kind of is one of a kind. But it's an incredible brush. Now, it's got a silver tip badger hair, which is pretty good. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty good.
I really like his a lot. But do you find it too screechy?
No, I mean, it's scritchy when it's wet. I mean, it's scritchy when it's dry. But he's got one of those, his knots have like those hooked badger hairs. You know how at the end they're kind of hooked?
Yeah.
So when they get wet, they actually get like jelly-like, so it feels softer. But when
jelly tips.
Yeah, they're like gel tips.
Yeah.
And it's confusing as heck because when you first feel it, you're like, oh, this is going to be scritchy. And then when you wet it, you realize, oh, okay, it's not like that at all. But they're good.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to find a picture right now on my phone so I can show the viewing audience.
So that's the first thing. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And I did a couple videos on it. I think just my last 2 videos I was using that brush. And overall, man, it's a good brush. And the best thing about it is the way it looks. I mean, I think there's a certain point in wet shaving where if you have a nice badger brush, it's hard to get another one that's going to, like, floor you. So it's really more about, like, how it looks. So if you get something that you really like the way it looks and it performs pretty good, you can be pretty happy about it.
This might be fitting for today being Halloween and all. This is another one of Tim Blam's. This is the Jolly Roger.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It's really cool, and what I like about this one, it's a little different than all the other ones out there. The other ones out there are more like anatomically sound,
they're like
if
real
you will.
skulls.
They're like real skulls, which may be cool. This one's got like I don't know. It just feels better in my hand. You know what I'm saying? Like the back of it kind of cones in and like it nests in there. So
that's one of the things I love about this guitar brush is the handle, because of the way it's shaped. It really fits your hands.
It took me a while to figure it out, but once I did nail it, like I had my thumb on the frets.
Yes.
And like,
that's exactly what you have to do. You put your thumb on the frets, and it works perfect.
Yeah, it's so weird. It speaks to like the evolution of the brush too. Like I don't think we're done. I think handles we've simplified. They just make sense being as they are. But I think there's like ergonomic like stuff out. Like it's gonna happen. There's gonna be some really funky looking brushes that you're gonna be like, how the hell do I use that? But it's gonna feel so good when you figure it out. I think there's more exploration to be done.
Matthew Martin, the reason why he does that same shape all the time and just kind of changes the color variations is because he feels that that's the perfect, most ergonomic handle he could come up with. So he sticks to that design and just changes up the color.
I think he's just lazy. I'm just joking.
I think he's going to be on the show next week talking.
But the thing about this Tim Blam brush is because of how it's shaped, at least the guitar one, it pretty much there's no way to tip it over. Like you can put it down on the handle and it just stays up.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. So I use that. I also been using the Perfecto razor, which is this cheap Chinese razor on eBay or Amazon. It's got a design similar to the DE89, and it's pretty good for, I think it's like $15 or $16. You can't go wrong.
What is it called?
Made well. It's called the Perfecto, and you can only get it through Amazon. But I'm not endorsing it because I think other razors are better. I think the Merkur 34C is better. The Edwin Jagger is better. But for the price, for $16, it's actually pretty damn good. So I've been using that. I actually bought it because I was interested to see if there was something good enough where I could tell the people that watch my channel to buy that for like a beginner razor. And I would recommend it, but I'd still recommend this stuff better. And then lastly, I had some stuff sent to me from Captain's Choice, and I've been using their soaps, and they're actually pretty good. Like, you know, you get stuff and you're like, well, if I don't like it, I'm just not even going to talk about it. But this stuff I actually liked somewhat. I liked it quite a bit. And the other thing that's cool is it's one of those things that never goes out of stock, at least from my understanding. That's one of the things that it doesn't bug me, but it bugs my viewers when I put a video out and then a week later they're like, it's out of stock, it's out of stock. And I'm like, well, it's because they, you know, it sold out, you know?
Yeah. There's a couple ways around that. I mean, you could just tell them you're about to release a video too, and maybe wait to release it if that's
oh, that's a good idea.
You know, and work with them, and that way they might also give you a discount code to use, which your viewers will appreciate as well, or whatever. But that's just something to consider.
Yeah, well, some artisans don't give discount codes.
Yeah, some artisans don't want to devalue their work. You know what's another good razor though? While we're talking about this, not to change the subject, because why would we do that? Conspiracy. Yeah. But the Yuma. Have you tried the Yuma?
Oh, I love the Yuma.
It's super cheap. Yeah, I do too. And it's like I'm on bestshave.net right now trying to get the price. Okay, so this is $1.99, folks. The Yuma, and it's based. If you ask me, I think it's based on the Merkur 1904, the original design. Even the handle is very, very similar, but it's really cheap. I mean, talk about pot metal. I think they're just like grabbing whatever metal is nearby and throwing it in the pot and melting it down. Because I mean,
definitely like that.
And I'm sure not every one you get is going to be great, but for the most part, the design seems to be somewhat consistent, and I've always gotten a great close shave with them. And again, they're $1.99, so if you're looking to get someone started in wet shaving or put together your own kit maybe for someone, it's a cheap way to go. And you know, bestshave.net, they sell everything.
I have some advice. If you go on bestshave.net, they're going to have an option where you can buy the Yuma without a
case,
or with the case. Don't get it with the case, because I bought them with the case. They all came cracked. Like by the time they got to America, they were all cracked.
Guess what? So, they're sold out right now too, Busta.
Oh, just get it without the case.
Yeah, you don't need the case.
Yeah, but you know what? You could buy 10 of them. That's what I bought them because I wanted to give them to my friends.
Exactly.
So you could buy 10, even 20 of them, and you're only spending like $40 at the most. And yeah, you're right. Some of them aren't going to be perfect, but for the most part, they all look pretty good.
They're going to get you started, is what it all comes down to, and make whoever you're giving it to realize the difference between cartridge razor shaving and safety razor shaving.
I sent one to you, right, David?
Yeah.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, did you use it?
Yeah, I used it a couple times. It's pretty aggressive voice, I found it to be.
It is.
But it's nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It does the job. It's not the prettiest thing. It looks like some old aluminum that they found at a scrap heap, but
lead. It looks like lead almost, like you could like put it on a wall.
You definitely want to dry it right away. You don't want to leave it wet at all.
Yeah, I can see that. And you know, and for someone else who doesn't want to travel with their quality razors, it might be something to travel with as well. And it's a 3-piece, so it breaks down really small. And the handle is really small. If anyone who knows a 1904 handle, it's probably about 2.5 inches, 2 3/4 maybe. But so it's a great little travel razor too. But yeah, I don't know why I just jumped into the Yuma.
I mean, it's a good razor.
Go on, Busta. I didn't mean to cut you off.
But that particular razor makes you feel kind of badass because you're like, man, I'm using a razor that was probably made like originally in the 40s or the 30s or something.
Yeah. Well, that's
who knows?
They again, I really think they copied the 1904, the Merkur 1904, and they probably have been making it since that time because the rest of the world didn't start using cartridge razors like we did. So they've been using these for a while. You know, it was a razor to them. It's not a hobby like it is to us. So it's just a $1.99 razor.
Yeah.
God knows how much it costs there, and it's just something you would buy, and use it until you can't use it anymore. But I'm sure that some people make these things last forever. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The only other thing I've been using a lot of more frequently, and I think it's just to make my face feel good, is Thayer's Witch Hazel. And I think so many people don't know about it. Just the original. Without alcohol, just the original toner.
Very nice.
And I think so many people don't know enough about it.
Oh, David does.
Yeah, because it's great. I remember Bailey on his videos was saying like he had an issue with his face, like some issue with his skin, and he started using that, and it cured it up. So.
Oh yeah, no, the alcohol-free witch hazel. Well, what's interesting about that claim, alcohol-free, and I don't really like to nitpick about this stuff, but alcohol is naturally occurring in witch hazel.
Yeah.
So they can say it's alcohol-free, but in all actuality, it's not. There is alcohol in that. But
But
probably
they're just not adding
enough.
additional alcohol.
Exactly. So there's a little wiggle room there legally, I guess. But so it's not alcohol-free, but it is very mild on the alcohol. You probably wouldn't even be able to feel it. But
So
yeah,
even
it's
without
great
the
stuff.
alcohol, it still disinfects, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the witch hazel is one of the few herbs out there. I don't know if you've noticed this when you're buying like organic or herbal products. It says like claims cannot be backed or by the FDA, yada yada yada. Do you ever notice that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's because they just haven't done the testing on it or whatnot. But with witch hazel, this is something the Native Americans gave to us or introduced us to hundreds of years ago. This is the most tested and experimented on herb that we have in the
Oh, wow.
Americas. Yeah, so we know the most about this. You can use it for everything. You can drop it in your eye. I mean, you can ingest it. I mean, it's just great for so many different things. So yeah, it's a cure-all. It's a miracle plant.
I think
there's a lot out there.
I think we should all drink a cup at the meetup.
I'll pass.
Be
Let's
lining
do
up
it.
in the bathroom.
Come on,
Yeah.
you got 4
Yeah.
bottles. You haven't drank any of that? Come on.
You haven't wanted to? The lemon one? Come on, man. Just add some gin to it.
Never.
No, that's great. Okay, so what do I have? I've been traveling, so I have my typical travel setup, which is my modern Bakelite Merkur 1945, or rather 45, my Merkur 45, which is in the bathroom right now. I don't know why I don't have it here with me. What I do have, and what I have been shaving with, just because I'm in Roswell, and this whole like trip has been inspired by, well, it's just like this whole thing, this whole Bowie phase I'm going through right now. But I've been using Harvest Moon.
Oh, yeah.
And these are the new containers, by the way. These are the 4-ounce containers.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Bailey would be happy, and it's magical stuff. And this was released today, and I'm very happy with. I didn't realize like how many people were actually following along with just the buzz and everything around this. And there were a lot of people. It's been crazy. Like my website's been like just off the hook. I'm surprised it hasn't shut down yet. And so yeah, I've been using the Harvest Moon, and
Hey, Douglas, are all your soaps going to be in those plastic containers now?
I believe so. I believe so.
I like the plastic better than the aluminum.
So now what I'm going to have
Whatever
to
that is.
I have literally one more. I have one more Santalum Fumas here. I'm going to have to keep that metal container because there's not going to be no more of those.
Oh, well, the small metal containers I could keep doing. I mean, like, for stuff like that, for exclusive soaps I'm doing for other people, it's really their call. I mean, I can, you know, it really depends. There's benefits to metal, there's benefits to plastic. I mean, it depends where you are and what you're going for. You know, I like the metal tins, honestly, for a few different reasons. One is, you know, there's the ecological reasons, but there's also for blooming, especially dry blooming. But just the metal contains heat so much better than the plastic.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I like that for that feature. But then you get the dents and the tings. You know, these things don't bother me because I believe it's what's inside that counts. But for some people it does. Then there's the rusting that can occur on some of them if the coating's been rubbed off or if it never was coated. So that you know, another thing is I'd like to bring up this tip for anyone that's traveling. If you're out to eat while you're traveling, or even before you hit the road, look for these on the table, these little packets of lemon juice, and throw them in your travel bag, because if you don't know where you're going, you might get somewhere where there's really hard water, and depending on what soap you brought with you, you might need some of this to kill the hard water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little bit of this lemon juice, it's citric acid. A little bit of this lemon juice will, oh man, it'll save your lather, and you'll thank me in the long run. But yeah, so whenever you see these, pick some up and throw them in your travel kit.
How do you know weird shit like that? Like, how did you ever fucking
I
try
know, right?
lemon juice in hard water? That's like the most random thing I think I've ever heard you say. And I talk to you often. I talk to you at some point daily. That's the weirdest shit I've ever heard you say.
I did a lot of drugs in the 90s. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh.
Also, I wanted to say, I just picked this up too, because I usually when I'm traveling, I don't know what it is, but I always need like a sewing kit, like a little needle and thread.
Right.
I know it sounds weird, but I found this to be true. where were we? We were in Prescott, Arizona. I needed a sewing kit. I can't even remember what it was for, but I needed to stitch up something. And then when I was in Alabama, my jumpsuit, my NASA jumpsuit, I needed to stitch a patch on the jumpsuit. And now I ran into that again today or the other day, and I keep like taking this sewing kit and taking it out of my bag. Keep a sewing kit in your suitcase because, strange enough, you might just need it. And so I picked these up while I was looking for another sewing kit, and these are bandage, or what they're marketed as bandage scissors, but they're also like the larger ones that are used in the hospitals that will cut metal as well. These are great to keep in your shave station if you have a shavette. So rather than relying on snapping the blade, you just cut it right in half, and it'll give you that straight edge. Because when you snap it, you can get all these weird angles and whatnot. It's dangerous. It's also more dangerous. But this, you can just, you don't even have to take it out of the package. You could actually just go right down the line, and you can feel where it's biting into. Yeah. So that's what I do. What I do is I unflap. Now I'm giving shaving tips, but I'll take one flap off, so that the bottom flap's still there, but the top one isn't, so I can see it right there, and with it still in the paper. And this one's great, the Sharks, because it has that little metal line on it.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what I'm cutting. And
how often do you use this shavette?
A lot, especially when I'm traveling.
Really?
Just around my mustache to really get in there. But see, so that I just cut it right in half, and it's relatively straight. And it looks just like the ones you would buy, specially cut for a shavette. So that's my little travel tip for all you listening. Actually, I had another idea too while I was traveling again. Is I brought a scuttle with me. Does it have to do
with fruit?
I brought a scuttle with me. No, it does not. Passion fruit. But a lot of people, I see the scuttles. Scuttles kind of go through waves of popularity. I've noticed. I love them. I love them.
Really?
Yeah, and especially like now, I used to live in New England where it was cold this time of year, so I really get off using. See, that's the thing. So you live in New Mexico, so
yeah, it doesn't get that cool.
Yeah, it doesn't. But like in between passes, I'm a shower shaver, so I don't typically need one. But when I'm shaving while I'm traveling by the sink, the lather will get cold on the brush in between passes. And this also used to happen at home, so I would use the scuttle, be it for creating lather or just to hold the brush in between passes to keep it warm. So I brought one with me because I knew I was going to be shaving at the sink because I'm at a hotel, and it's been so much easier. Like usually, like when I'm traveling, irritation happens because I can't shave the same way I normally would. I brought pre-shave jelly, and I brought a scuttle this time and did it right, and it's awesome. And I took some notes while I was using the scuttle. And what I want to tell scuttle users out there is, and you're probably already doing this because it's so intuitive, but it's just like anything else. If you're blooming your soap, you put the water on it, or you're putting it in the water. Bloom your scuttle before you hit the shower. Fill it up with really, really hot water, and also fill up the bowl with really, really hot water, and hop in the shower. This is called thermal equilibrium. It's the second law of thermodynamics, I believe. But it's heating up that container while you're in the shower, and then when you get out of the shower, dump it out and fill it up again with hot water. And it's nothing like hot lather. It really it feels so good, and really appreciated it during this trip to Roswell, especially. So those are my tips, my quick wet shaving tips for this week, folks.
I'm glad you brought it back to wet shaving because I thought it was gonna be the knitters and sewers round table for a second there.
Oh my God! I could easily go there. What's up with knitting? How did that make a comeback?
I have no idea. Yeah. How did wet shaving make a comeback?
Well, that makes a little more sense. Not really. Well, you know what it is? Okay, we're gonna go there. Now let's go conspiracy. In this timeline, Buster, it did. Wet shaving became popular, but on the previous timeline that we were all on, it wasn't popular.
Okay.
Now, okay, stay with me here. Berenstein Bears.
I'm already
Remember the Berenstein Bears?
I know who they are.
Okay, and listeners out there who aren't trick-or-treating, the Berenstein Bears. Now, it was Berenstein, right, with an E. I-E-N. Berenstein, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, with E-I-N, I think, at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in this timeline, it's with an A. It's the Berenstain Bears.
Oh, God.
And call up your parents, have them go look at those books, and they'll send you a picture, and there's an A on it. So somewhere in the last 10 years, we jumped to another timeline where that's how they spell it. Because collectively, we all remember it with an E. It wasn't with an E, or it's not an E. What happened? No,
I
someone
don't know.
changed their books. So clear proof that somewhere along the way we hopped into another timeline.
So
Or I've been in Roswell too long.
Do we think that Mantic or Geo Fat Boy caused like a time rift shift?
Something, yeah, there was some type of glitch.
One of their videos turned it all off.
It was probably Geo Fatboy. In fact, I almost bought Geo Fatboy a do-rag today. I was in one of these alien shops, Spacewalk, and there was a do-rag with the little alien-like heads all over it. And I was like, it was black and green, so it was like totally like it was Geo's colors. But I was like, will he wear this? I mean, would he wear it? Maybe he's a tribute to me or something. But I didn't end up. Yeah, I doubt it too.
Have you ever had a conversation with him?
What's up?
Have you ever had a conversation with Geo?
Me?
Yeah.
I interviewed him on Mustache and Blade.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Yep. Which
was before I started listening to Mustache and Blade.
You got a lot of catching up to do, brother.
I do.
You all do. People ask me questions that I've covered like 8 times on the Mustache and Blade show, and it's like they never listened.
Well, podcasts are getting more popular, but back then I don't think as many people watched.
Yeah, I guess so. I thought that at the time. I was like, wow, we're kind of late to the game with podcasts, but there's still, people are still doing.
Yeah.
In fact, Con and I need to get, Con, if you're watching, this week, we'll explore the Berenstein or Stain Bears more. Happy Halloween.
I have a question. Douglas, you mentioned you use a shavette for certain areas. Does that mean the rest of your face you're using the DE and just a shavette for the mustache?
Yeah. I used to use, well, again, it goes back to the 1904, the Merkur 1904, the original, the vintage ones, not the modern ones with the clunkier, thicker heads. I like, this is why the DOC was a favorite of mine, too, because the head's thinner. I can really get in there, nice and shape it just where I need to, especially the goatee as well, like a Van Dyke. I can get nice lines. It's tough to do with a clunky head sometimes in certain places. A shavette, somehow, it works. It just can really get in there. It's just thin enough to get in there. I also tried a mustache razor, the Merkur mustache razor. I used one of those back in the day. But those, the modern blades, and many people have heard me say this before, suck. They really just don't. There was one Japanese vintage model I had that was either Merkur ripped off them or they ripped off Merkur, called Besser. And people have heard me talk about that mystery for a while. Besser is a vintage razor company. And their blades, to this day, are still sharper than Merkur's modern blades.
Oh,
So I use those whenever I can find them, but I feel bad. I mean, it's a vintage piece, it's a relic, but they work so well. So I'm conserving them. So I will use a shavette in between. Another interesting thing, and this makes me think that Besser came after Merkur, is that's German for better. So yeah, I don't know what the story is with them. I can't find any information on that company at all. And since we've already covered the ground.
I remember that episode. Of Mustache and Blade.
Okay. Well, anyone new to the show right now listening that hasn't heard me talk about this, if you know anything about Besser, and it says made in Japan on the razor, which is odd because they're using a German word. Let me know. I would love to know anything you can find out about Besser. Okay, moving on.
Well, I mean, the reason I asked that is because I was thinking, moving into the future, to do some of my videos where I use the straight razor on my cheeks and my neck, and always use the DE on my face, meaning on my lip area. And I was thinking, if more people do that, maybe it's not such a bad idea. Because why not use the best things for the best places?
Supplements. Supplemental razors. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There was a while I was using just the 1904 on my neck. Mm-hmm. I would use whatever other razor I was using, but that one, I found the razor that worked on my neck. Why would I change it up? And so I supplemental razor. I did it for a while, and I'll still do it here and there. I'll leave it in the shower on the top part of the door rack, and yeah, sometimes I'll just hit the neck up with it. But supplemental razors, don't feel bad about using one at all. If you got it and you can afford to have a second razor, do it.
What do you think, David?
I have no problem with it, especially like somebody for like me, like myself. If I was ever to shave probably the goatee off on my chin, I'd probably prefer to use a DE on it, just for the simple fact that with a straight razor, I'm never comfortable going against the grain right here, or even on my chin. I have shaved with the straight razor on my chin before. But against the grain really I didn't like how it felt. It felt uncomfortable to me. I don't know because the hair. I'm sorry?
What was Sharky doing? I remember he had a little tip that he did with his straight razor
He does a double hand. He does two hands on the blade.
Is he still doing that?
I saw
he
one
still
just
does.
recently. He did it.
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
okay.
and like for me, every time I go against the grain on it, I always get little blood spots. There's no
Yeah.
particular cut. There's no particular big nick, but I get little blood spots. So my skin is just not meant to go against the grain here and here.
Uh,
Try
So
try
I probably. I'm sorry.
I'd try a pre-shave. I was just talking to someone early about this earlier, meaning probably yesterday morning. But pre-shave oils and jellies and all that jazz and soaps. Usually we use them, or before the first pass, and we never return to it. But if you have trouble areas during the shave, it's okay during your second pass to put some pre-shave jelly or soap back on there and then relather. For each pass, you could use a pre-shave soap or a pre-shave jelly or so on and so forth. But maybe for your lip right there, just for a little added protection, glide and like lube almost, add a little jelly or soap right there, and then try it.
Maybe
And get
I'm
back to
actually
me. Get
growing
back to
out
me.
I'm growing out the mustache right now, so I
oh,
may never shave it again.
good
Nice.
luck
We'll
on
see.
that.
Yeah.
Good luck, man. I think me and David have the same kind of mustaches. We're not going to grow a mustache to save our lives.
I'm trying. I'm over here working. Look at that. It's coming.
It's Movember. It's Movember.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. I'm going to
Yeah.
do it, but it's not going to look good, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm doing it for November because if I just started in November, I really have nothing to show for it, and nobody's gonna pay attention to shit that I'm doing because it's just gonna look like I don't have a damn mustache. So I started a little early cheating, and here it is.
You know what pisses me off? The people that do either the Movember or the No Shave November, and then in December just get lazy, and the next thing you know, in January they look like, like horrid. It's like, what?
Like
you don't have to
Wesley
stop
Allen,
shaving for the rest of your life.
you get a
like
you get a bunch of fat dudes looking like Wesley Allen all over the place. Good God.
Yeah, no, that happens. See, the No Shave November, I never really got behind that. To me, that was a college thing.
Yeah.
Like, it started off in college, and that was it. Just college kids did that. And it was a funny thing. But I thought Movember was just so much cooler. And that said, Movember Team Hitgam.com. That's Movember Team HTGAM.com, folks. We could really use your donations. Actually, we're doing really well. We have 50 members. Our goal is $2,000, and we're already close to 1,000 before Movember's even started.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's awesome. So people, if you're listening, no one, and the thing is, it's everyone else on my team that's like pulling in the money. I have like $12 that someone donated to me, and it might have been me actually. But yeah. So
I still got my video to do. I'm going to be doing it soon.
awesome.
Me too.
Awesome. So yeah, people check out our page.
I
Movember
promise I'll
Team
raise at
Hitgam.
least 5 times as much as David. Just saying.
I haven't really started yet. Again, when Movember starts, I'll be ready. But yeah, just as of yet, I'm really impressed with the
The
team.
only people that watch David's videos are his family.
All 300 of them.
Exactly. That's what I'm
And
saying.
they're in the room with them.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. Peter Charkelis likes my videos, and that's good enough for me.
It's good. It's pretty good.
God. What else we got?
I miss Peter.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing him in another week. That's right, folks. And why, David? Why are we going to be seeing Peter in another week? What's coming up?
We have the Grand Shave Lodge meetup going on in Old Town, Pasadena, at Old Town Shaving. So wet shavers from all over the country are going to congregate here in Southern California
Yet
to
again.
just chop it up, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm fucking excited, dude.
I'm going to be there.
And
Yes,
Busta's
sir.
going to be there as well.
I have a question. Why is it called the Grand Shave Lodge? Is there a lodge there that I don't know about?
Actually, yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, it is. It's going to be. Well, I wanted to. Well, the Big Shave West is coming up in the spring, and we didn't want to confuse people by calling it the Big Shave again because it's different. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be more intimate, and being this time of year, being the holiday season, that room that we're going to be congregating in will be filled with Christmas trees.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's going to give you that like ski lodge type vibe. It's going to smell great for one. And I also wanted like this secret society type vibe, like the Bull Moose Club or whatever those things, like the Buffalo Club, or the Freemasons almost. I wanted like secret handshakes. I wanted to wear fez is what it all comes down to. And I wanted to I didn't want to do it alone. So I thought like this shaved lodge. It just sounded like epic like that. So that's where that came from. And it does sound a little crazy hearing myself say this out loud, but it's going to be bitchin'. And I think we have 50 plus attendees.
That's awesome.
Roughly. Yeah. And yeah, a lot. I haven't even really given any thought yet. I'm still traveling, so it's like now for this coming week, I got to work on something. David, and anyone listening, should I redo the Big Shave West soap from last year, or should I do something completely new?
I would say you do something completely new. Save the Big Shave West soap for the Big Shave West. I really think it should be something a little bit, just different.
Hey, I just saw Marty Pate
Yeah.
posted a video on Facebook. So he leaves the show and now he's competing with us. What's up with that?
Okay. No, that's somebody literally nobody watches his.
I know,
So
right?
don't worry about him.
No, I think
Oh, you know what?
You should do a new soap. I like the idea of a new soap for this.
Okay, maybe I'll do like a pineapple soap. I don't think anyone's done one of those yet. I've been, I'm so new at being the moderator here, and I apologize to our viewers that I've totally been ignoring your questions.
Good job.
It always blows my mind that we're actually live. And
See,
I do
Rico
see
does a
questions.
good job. We just don't give him credit.
No, we
I
don't.
didn't
And,
think anybody was actually watching the show live, so I didn't think we had questions.
What are the questions?
yeah, we do actually. We got one from Steve Ulrich coming in right now. I'm a recent owner of a boa brush, Smoke, and seem to enjoy lathering with them better than Badger. Your thoughts? Busta, what do you got?
I love lathering with boars. It feels good on your face. I like the idea that it kind of like it's working it to the point where it's going to feel different the next time and different the next time. For me, I like badgers, but I really love boars because just you get something different with each shave. And for me, badgers, once I have a badger and I felt it, it feels the same every shave. The boar kind of shifts and morphs as I'm using it. I like them. What about you, David?
I'm generally speaking not a big fan of boar brushes. They just don't do
Your
it.
family too much? I'm joking.
No, but not just I don't know what it is. For me, the break-in time is too long, and I just don't think the quality of lather that I get for a 3-pass shave it just isn't the same. I recently found a boar brush that I am really enjoying, and that's the Badger and Blade Essential Boar Brush by Omega.
That's a great boar brush.
But I have 2 of them now because I tried it out, and I have 2 of them. But aside from that one, like I don't like the Smoke Owners Club. I still have the very first brush I've ever gotten, which was another Omega that I have it just because it was my first brush ever, but I don't use it. I don't use it at all. I don't really enjoy it. Badger's just what just does it for me. I like that consistency, and I think it's a superior performance.
That's
I have a
interesting.
question for you. All your badgers, do you enjoy all your badgers, or has there been badgers you got where you're like, oh, this sucks?
The ones that are just made obviously cheaper, like the ones that are just absolutely not dense at all. Those are a turn off. Like I've tried Best Badger, don't like it. But of course I've never had a real dense Best Badger brush.
Yeah.
I didn't like Black Badger, don't like Gray Badger. I should probably say I probably stick to more of the 2-band Finest and Silver Tip. I didn't enjoy too much the scritchier, lower quality ones, which sucks because they're cheaper, obviously. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
The boar. So your first brush was a cheap boar brush. Is that what you're saying, David?
Not a cheap boar brush. It was
But it
a
was
12.
boar.
Watch, I'll tell you right now. Hold on.
My first boar brush was a 1250 Smoke.
This is the one I had. This was my first boar brush ever.
And you didn't
Okay.
like it?
No, and I used it exclusively for like about 6 months, dude. Like this was the brush I had. So it was before I got into it obsessively, before I got into the Facebook groups. And it performs okay, but it just never really. I love the handle too. The handle's fantastic. I think Razor Rock is doing handles like this on their Badger brush right now, the one they just came out in. But yeah, this brush they never did it for me.
That's interesting because usually what I find, and you're totally anomaly to this, and it just totally wrecked my theory. But the brush people start off with is the one they prefer, or the hair they prefer, anyways. For me, I started off with granted, I do love synths now. I'm really digging synths, but I started off. Well, actually, I think I started off with a synth. Regardless, but boa brushes I really fell in love with. And mine was a vintage Crabtree and Evelyn. And the thing was, it's like this because I learned it. I spent so much time with it that I knew how to make it work. Then I didn't want to ever lose it or be without it, so I tried to find another one online. Eventually, I did. Again, this was vintage, so it took me months to locate another one. I did, got it in the mail. It just handles totally different.
Yeah.
It's not broke. It's a just different brush, but it's the same. It's the same brush, just not broken in the same way. Totally different feel. So there's that.
That's why I like boars, because they all perform different depending on how you break them in.
Yeah, so true. And
I even thought that it might be the fact that maybe because it was dyed badger hair, it made a difference. But I didn't enjoy the Smoke Owners Club either. I have it. It's super soft. but my lathers die out second pass. You know,
Yeah,
can
that
I
one.
get to a 3-pass shave? But it's a significant drop off from the first pass to the second.
I
Yeah,
think
the owners club in particular eats lather like big time.
yeah, it has to do with the water retention in the boa brush, and I think they're better for people that use scuttles or bowls to create leather, and that's what I was using it for. The boa brush, anyways, just the backbone. It was soft, but it still was not soft as a badger, and it had such killer backbone. It was great for building up resistance in a scuttle and really building up a thick lather. At least that's what worked for me, how it worked for me. But as I moved into face lathering, I probably used it less. Actually, I used a horse. I went from horsehair, transitioned into face lathering using that, and now again I've graduated to just synths, straight up synths. Many different
synthetics
types.
are easy.
Super easy. You don't have to care for them. You really
Yeah.
don't. I mean, they're especially the prices nowadays that people are selling for. They're cheap enough that you can just abuse the hell out of them. And
Well, when I get to
love it.
Pasadena, David, I'm going to teach you how to lather. That way you can do it.
we can do it on the episode.
My lathers are fucking amazing. I don't know if you paid attention to my videos.
I think
I make
you
some
got
awesome
some kind of
lathers.
whip blend. You got a blender in your bathroom. You blend your lathers up before the.
That's an idea. That's a brilliant idea, actually. That is really cool. You can get you could get a blender or a mixer.
A little hair mixer.
Blades that have whisks on it that would whip up some lather for you. Well, we have another question coming in from B. Wilburn. Is that Bill Wilburn? Regardless, he's asking, did any of us get the Ghost Ship from Beaver Woodwright? I have the Ghost Ship. You guys picked it up?
I didn't pick it up. I don't like. I mean, is it a false set? I hate false sets. So that if it's a false set, I usually don't buy it.
No, it's more along the lines of a Bay Rum.
Okay.
David, what's that noise? What are you doing? Spraying
Hold on, I'm filling up a bowl real quick.
He's gonna show us how to lather. Oh shit! He got pissed off.
No, just this brush got a little misshapen because I had it just thrown in the back of my brush stroke. So I'm gonna wet it, probably lather it up so it can set back to normal because it looks ridiculous.
Hey David, have you cleaned that yet, or is it like from the beginning you never cleaned it?
I've cleaned it. Yeah, I've cleaned it before. Yeah, I go maybe every couple months. I go through and clean my brushes.
That's the one thing I found, that boars are the most susceptible to, soap scum and all that crap. Like if you don't clean your boars at least maybe once a month, they start performing pretty bad.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm just looking up Beaver Woodwright. The thing that I've noticed, and a lot of people out there that are making brushes or buying their own knots now, is depending on where you're ordering it from, sometimes you can come in, and depending how many you're ordering, then not all the time ships so well, so they can be all dented and beat up, these brushes, and it's like, oh man, I got this one crappy knot I can't do anything with. Well, you can by just soaking it in hot water and creating a lather with it, and letting the lather and like coning it and letting the lather sit on it, and just put it down on the sink and let it sit like that for a day or 2 or 3. Rinse it out, see if it's still donating. If it's not, or if it is, do it again. But eventually, you can train that knot to be like brand new again. So that's any brush makers out there.
How do you cone it again, Douglas? You cone it like this?
See, I'm not looking at you. I'm on a website, so I don't know what I look like.
I'm joking.
So we have the Ghost Ship here, and I did carry it for the launch, which was last week, and it sold out relatively fast. And what do we got? Good. Okay, so it's made with sandalwood, grapefruit, black amber. That's it. Okay, so sandalwood, grapefruit, and black amber. So
no bay at all.
I get I get this spicy bay rum type.
Well, I'm gonna have to order it because I love sandalwood.
Oh, it's great. I love it, and I love sandalwood and I love bay rum. But this is like as with all of his scents, I get this nautical thing, and it could just be the names, and I'm suffering from placebo. But yeah, it's really good. You almost expect it to glow in the dark too with that.
That's
label.
what I was gonna say. I have a challenge for you. You should make a soap that glows in the dark. You should make a Roswell soap, dude. Make it where it's neon green, it glows in the dark. That'd be awesome.
My God, you're right. I should have done that. Well, I'm not done yet with my space exploration, so
Okay.
that could easily happen. That is, or just the jelly, the pre-shave jelly. If I made that slime.
I would do a shave video in the dark just so that people could see
It's
it.
so on.
That would be awesome.
In fact, for Movember, we'll do it for Movember. So you can get some donations.
Does anybody remember when Busta did a video that he showed absolutely nothing but darkness because his channel was going dark?
Oh yeah,
that was the worst video ever. That That was the biggest mistake in all of YouTube history. I swear to God.
Hey, you know what? It worked, buddy.
And he's back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think your door is the biggest mistake in YouTube history, David. That door
Hey,
behind
hey,
you.
hey! No, look at.
Drawing attention to it is the
That
biggest.
door is browner than David's skin.
No, look at. You're not paying attention.
Oh,
It's not brown.
Is it a new
Oh,
door?
did you paint it?
I painted it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, the social pressure. Well,
No,
folks,
actually, we're at Home Depot today getting these weird ass light bulbs for the restroom. I don't know who the hell was the contractor when this house was built, but I swear to God, every fucking room has different light bulb sockets.
oh, I hate that.
So I had to go to freaking Home Depot to find these particular light bulbs I need, and I just passed through the paint, and I was all like, you know what? There's no reason. I was being a stubborn bastard because before people mentioned it, I was planning on fucking painting the door. But then when people started talking shit like Simon, I was like, fuck that. I'm leaving the door like that. But I'm like, I don't have to live like a fucking scumbag to prove a point. I decided to fucking paint the damn door.
Unbelievable. Well, there you have. And those light bulbs, the energy-saving light bulbs especially, the more I learn about those things, the more I'm just really concerned about those things. They contain mercury, and you're not supposed to throw them in a landfill. Like, you're not supposed to throw them out. There's special
What the hell am I
supposed to bring them. That's the thing, is they don't make it easy. So it's like a lot of people don't know that. They think they're they're greener and whatnot. They're actually pretty scary, and you probably don't want to throw it out. I think it's illegal actually too, but they don't tell you that, right?
Wow.
But yeah, they contain mercury. So, well, folks, I mean, we've pretty much reached the end of the show. This has been
Good thing my battery's about to die.
special Halloween
I have a
edition
question.
of the Wet Shavers Roundtable. What's up?
On that note, who the hell's going to turn us off live? Because
We
Rico's
all
not
turn
here.
ourselves off. We just all hang up, and we're good to go.
Okay, there you go.
But before I leave, I want to leave you folks with some reading material that I just recently picked up. This is the UFOs and the Murder of Marilyn Monroe
Oh, yeah.
by Donald R. Burlinson, Ph.D. Ph.D. in what? I do not know. And another one I picked up. This is high entertainment, folks. Literally. The Real Cowboys and Aliens UFO Encounters of the Old West. That's right. Two of my favorite flavors combined. It's like that Star Trek episode where they're at the OK Corral. And then I got an original copy of the Roswell edition. Was it the recorder? The Daily Record. Look at that.
Nice.
It's a reproduction, actually, but I'm stoked. So this is Douglas Smythe signing off from Roswell, New Mexico. And
Busta signing off from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And David somewhere in
And of
Mexico.
course- and I'm the lucky one. This is David Gonzalez signing off from Southern California.
Mexico.
See you guys soon.
See you guys. Bye.
take it easy.
Happy
Happy
Halloween.
Halloween! Ciao.